I used to believe life was endless, that the days would keep rolling forward, careless and bright. Back then, I was reckless, a boy who lived for noise, for laughter that never reached his heart, for moments that disappeared as quickly as they came. And then I met Clara Hayes. She wasn't loud or trying to be seen, but there was something about her, like still water that hides impossible depths. She looked at the world as if it was worth loving, even when it hurt. I didn't know it then, but meeting her was the beginning of everything, and the end of everything too. This is the story of the girl who taught me how to live, even as she was learning how to say goodbye. The ocean had a way of drowning out secrets in Seabrook. At 17, I had perfected the art of not caring, rolling through town in my battered pickup, blasting music with friends who thought we were untouchable. But all kingdoms fall. A stupid prank with a spray can landed me community service, of all places, at the church. Pastor Hayes, a man with a steady voice, agreed to supervise me. "We'll put your energy to good use," he said. "The youth center needs repainting." As I grabbed a brush, I saw her, Clara Hayes. She was perched on a ladder, hanging paper stars from the ceiling. Her hair caught the sunlight, and when she looked down, her eyes, clear, calm, and endlessly kind, met mine. For a second, I forgot how to breathe. She smiled, small and polite, before returning to her work. "That's my daughter, Clara Hayes. She helps with everything here," the pastor said. Days bled into weeks. I showed up begrudgingly, painting and sweeping, but Clara was always there. Her soft laughter echoed in the halls, and she hummed as she organized costumes for the youth play. She spoke little to me at first, but when she did, her voice was warm. "You missed a spot," she teased one afternoon. I raised an eyebrow. "You volunteering?" She grinned, took the brush from my hand, and in one graceful stroke filled in the missing space. Something about the way she looked at me, without judgment, made my chest tighten. One day, she pressed a script into my hand. "We need someone for the play. A small part. It'll keep you out of trouble." I wanted to laugh it off, to say no, but her earnest, bright eyes held me in place. Against every instinct, I said, "Fine, but if I embarrass myself, I'm blaming you." Her smile was worth it. Rehearsals became our rhythm. I stumbled over lines, earning soft giggles from Clara. She guided me patiently, never mocking. Slowly, I stopped dreading community service. I started looking forward to it. One evening after rehearsal, we walked outside. The air smelled of salt and pine. "You're better than you think, Ethan," she said. "I don't even know you." "I know enough," she replied softly. "And I think you're capable of more than you realize." Her words sunk deep. At school, people noticed the shift. My old friends teased me for choosing rehearsal over parties, but I brushed it off. What they didn't see was the way Clara looked at me, like I was more than my mistakes. What they didn't know was that every time she smiled, something in my carefully built armor cracked. The night of the play, I stood backstage, palms sweating. "You'll be fine," Clara whispered, adjusting my collar. Her fingers brushed my skin, sending a jolt through me. I met her gaze. For the first time, I wanted to be good because she believed I could be. The curtain rose, and I stepped onto the stage with Clara Hayes by my side. By the time the final applause faded, I knew something had changed. Something had begun. After the play, we spent more time together, often sitting on the steps outside the church, watching the sun disappear. I wasn't sure when my admiration for her shifted into something heavier, something that kept me awake at night replaying her smile, and it terrified me. One Friday night, I blurted it out. I like being around you, more than I probably should. Clara froze. Ethan. Her voice was gentle, but her eyes darted away. I'm serious, I pressed on. You make me want to be better. When I'm with you, I actually like who I am. Her shoulders tightened. You shouldn't feel that way about me, she whispered. Why not? I asked, sharper than I intended. Because I've messed up before? No, she shook her head, her eyes glistening. Because I don't have the kind of future you're imagining. I'm sick, Ethan. The world seemed to tilt. She was diagnosed last year, she said, her voice shaky. It's leukemia. The doctors have done what they can, but it's advanced. Some days I feel fine, but other days, she trailed off. My throat closed. No, you don't look sick. She smiled sadly. That's the thing about some battles. They happen inside, where no one can see. How long? My voice was a whisper. They don't know. Months, maybe more, maybe less. I didn't want you to look at me differently. I wanted to run, to deny it, but when I looked at her, trembling in the dim light, I knew walking away wasn't an option. I stepped forward. Then let me be here. Don't shut me out. Ethan, I don't want you to get hurt because of me, she said. I'm already hurting, but I'd rather hurt with you than live safe without you. Tears filled her eyes. She nodded just once. In that quiet, I wrapped my arms around her, holding her as if my embrace could anchor her to this world. From that night on, our time together felt precious, fleeting. Clara pulled a folded paper from her pocket. I've been making a list, she said. I took it. Dance barefoot in the rain, watch the sun rise from the cliffs, kiss under the stars, plant something that will outlive me. My chest tightened. Then we'll do them, I said, my voice firm. All of them. A week later, a storm rolled in. I showed up at her porch grinning. Are you coming? She laughed and stepped into the downpour. I grabbed her hand and spun her clumsily on the wet grass, our laughter mingling with the thunder. She looked radiant, face tilted to the sky. We chased the sunrise next, driving to the cliffs before dawn. As the first rays painted the ocean gold, she whispered, It's even more beautiful than I imagined. I didn't watch the sun. I watched the way the light touched her skin. Some nights we just drove, the radio blasting songs she sang with a shaky but sweet voice. We stopped for milkshakes at midnight diners and carved our initials into tables. And once, when the stars were especially bright, I leaned over and kissed her. It was clumsy and imperfect, but when our lips met, the world stilled. She pulled back, breathless. Guess we can cross that one off the list, she said. I touched my forehead to hers. Not crossing it off. I'm keeping it forever. As the weeks passed, Clara's strength wavered. On her bad days, I stayed beside her, reading aloud or simply holding her hand in silence. I hated the helplessness, but I never let her see my fear. One afternoon, we went to the church garden. Weak but determined, she knelt in the soil. Together, we planted a small cherry blossom tree. It'll bloom every spring, she said, pressing her hand to the earth, even after I'm gone. I swallowed hard. Then I'll be here every spring to see it. She reached up, her fingers brushing my cheek. You're not the same boy who walked into that church months ago. That's because of you, I said, pressing her hand to my lips. Promise me you'll stay this version of yourself, she whispered. I'll stay, because of you. Winter crept in, and with it, Clara's illness advanced. Her laughter was quieter now, like a candle flickering against the wind. All that mattered was her dreams, her smile, the fragile heartbeat I could feel when I held her close. I knew with aching clarity that every heartbeat was borrowed. One evening, we stood under a sky full of glittering constellations. "Do you ever wonder what it feels like," she asked softly, "to fade into something that still shines?" I looked at her, at the starlight in her eyes, unable to speak. People say time heals everything, but I don't think it erases anything. Some moments live on inside you. Clara is one of those moments. I still see her in spring blossoms drifting through the church garden. I still hear her laughter when the rain catches me by surprise. And every night, when I look up at the stars, I remember her hand in mine, her voice promising she'd never really leave. She was right. Clara Hayes is gone, but she is everywhere. In the man I became, in the love I learned to give, in the quiet strength she left behind. And so I keep my promise. I keep looking up. I keep loving her until the stars fade. Thank for watching. Follow for more.